If you're planning to buy a house in Las Vegas right now, you might want to hear this first. A top economist just revealed something about our housing market that nobody saw coming, and it's not good. But before we move forward, please take a moment to like the video and subscribe the channel so you can stay updated about the real estate markets of Las Vegas. Las Vegas has always been known as the city where dreams come true. The bright lights, the endless opportunities, the promise of a fresh start. But right now, there's a crisis brewing in our backyard that's affecting thousands of families, and it's getting worse by the day. Home prices are through the roof, inventory is disappearing, and wages aren't keeping up. So what's really going on? And more importantly, how do we get here? Let me paint you a picture of what's happening in Las Vegas right now. The median home price in our city has jumped to over $550,000. Just think about that for a second. $550,000 for a median home. That's not a luxury mansion in Summerlin. That's not a penthouse overlooking the strip. That's just a regular, average house in a regular neighborhood. Now you might be thinking, okay, but prices are going up everywhere, right? And you'd be correct. But here's where Las Vegas is different. Our wages haven't kept pace with these price increases, not even close. The average household income in Las Vegas is around $70,000 a year. Let's do some quick math here. If you're making $70,000 a year and you're trying to buy a house that costs $550,000, you're looking at a price to income ratio that's almost 8 to 1. That's insane. Financial experts typically say you shouldn't buy a house that costs more than 3 times your annual income. We're looking at numbers that are almost triple that recommendation. What does this mean in real terms? It means that regular working families, the nurses, the teachers, the casino workers, the people who actually keep this city running, they're getting priced out of homeownership completely. But it gets worse. Rental prices are skyrocketing too. The average rent for a 2-bedroom apartment in Las Vegas is now over $1,600 a month. That's almost $20,000 a year just for rent. If you're making $70,000 a year and you're spending $20,000 on rent, that's almost 30% of your gross income before taxes. After taxes, you're probably spending closer to 40% of your take-home pay just to keep a roof over your head. And here's the kicker. Inventory is at an all-time low. There just aren't enough homes available for people to buy, even if they could afford them. As of right now, we have less than 3 months of housing inventory in Las Vegas. In a healthy market, you want to see about 6 months of inventory. We're at half of that. This creates a bidding war situation where the few homes that do come on the market get snatched up immediately, often for above asking price. Often with all cash offers that regular buyers can't compete with. So how did we end up in this mess? Well, according to Dr. Michael Henderson, one of the leading economists who specializes in Western housing markets, there are several factors at play here, and they've all converged at the worst possible time. First, let's talk about what happened during the pandemic. When everything shut down in 2020, something interesting started happening. People working remote jobs in expensive cities like San Francisco, Los Angeles, and Seattle realized they could work from anywhere. And where did a lot of them decide to move? Las Vegas. No state income tax, relatively affordable compared to California. Warm weather year-round, and you're just a short flight away from anywhere you need to be. Sounds perfect, right? Well, it was perfect for them. But these remote workers were bringing their high California salaries to Las Vegas and competing with locals who make significantly less. When someone from the Bay Area is used to houses costing $2 million, a $500,000 house in Las Vegas looks like a steal. They can afford to offer above asking price, waive inspections, and pay all cash. A local family saving up for years to afford that same house doesn't stand a chance. Dr. Henderson points out that this migration pattern has added approximately 40,000 new residents to the Las Vegas metro area since 2020. 40,000 people who need places to live. But here's the problem. We didn't build 40,000 new housing units to accommodate them. Not even close. This brings us to the second major factor. Construction has not kept up with demand. And there are several reasons for this. During the Great Recession of 2008, Las Vegas was hit harder than almost any other city in America. Home values dropped by more than 60%. Thousands of construction workers lost their jobs. Many left the state entirely and never came back. The construction industry in Las Vegas never fully recovered from that blow. Fast forward to today, and we're dealing with a severe shortage of skilled construction workers. Builders want to build more homes. There's clearly demand for it. But they can't find enough workers to do the job. On top of that, the cost of building materials went crazy during the pandemic and still hasn't completely normalized. Lumber prices doubled. Copper prices went up, steel prices went up. Even basic things like nails and screws became more expensive. When it costs more to build a house, builders have to charge more for that house. And in many cases, the numbers just don't make sense for builders to construct affordable starter homes. They make more profit building luxury homes for wealthier buyers. So that's what they focus on. This creates a situation where new construction is primarily happening at the high end of the market, leaving first-time buyers with even fewer options. Dr. Henderson also points out another critical issue that people don't talk about enough: zoning laws and regulations. Las Vegas, like many cities, has zoning restrictions that limit where and what type of housing can be built. Large portions of the valley are zoned exclusively for single-family homes. This means you can't build apartment buildings, townhouses, or any kind of higher density housing in those areas, even if it would help solve the housing shortage. There's also the issue of available land. Las Vegas is in a valley surrounded by mountains and federal land. We can't just sprawl out infinitely in every direction. Yes, there's still undeveloped land in places like North Las Vegas and the far edges of Henderson, but that land comes with its own challenges. Infrastructure needs to be built. Water needs to be brought in. And speaking of water, that's becoming an increasingly serious concern as Lake Mead continues to drop to historic lows. Let's talk about another factor that's making this crisis worse: investors and corporate landlords. Over the past few years, large investment companies have been buying up single-family homes in Las Vegas at an unprecedented rate. These aren't people buying homes to live in. These are corporations buying homes to rent out or hold as investments. According to recent data, investors purchased nearly 1 in 4 homes sold in Las Vegas last year. 1 in 4. These companies have access to capital that regular buyers simply can't match. They can buy dozens or even hundreds of homes at once, often paying cash and closing in days. They're not concerned about whether the house is a good deal for a family. They're looking at it purely as a return on investment. When these homes are taken off the market and turned into rentals, it reduces the overall housing inventory even further, driving prices up for everyone else. And because these investors need to make a profit, they're charging premium rents. It's a vicious cycle. People can't afford to buy homes, so they rent. But the high rent makes it even harder to save money for a down payment. They get stuck in a trap where homeownership feels impossible. Dr. Henderson also discussed the role of interest rates in this crisis. For years, mortgage interest rates were at historic lows. You could get a 30-year fixed-rate mortgage for under 3%. That's incredibly cheap money. This fueled a buying frenzy because people could afford much larger mortgages when interest rates were that low. But then inflation started going up and the Federal Reserve responded by raising interest rates aggressively. Now mortgage rates are hovering around 7%. That might not sound like a huge difference, but let's look at what it means in real dollars. If you're buying a $500,000 house with 20% down, so a $400,000 mortgage, at 3% interest, your monthly payment would be about $1,700. At 7% interest, that same mortgage would cost you over $2,600 a month. That's an extra $900 every single month, or almost $11,000 a year. This rate increase has created another problem. People who bought homes when rates were low are now reluctant to sell because they'd have to give up their low interest rate and buy a new home at a much higher rate. This is called the lock-in effect, and it's keeping even more inventory off the market. People who might have otherwise moved to a different house are staying put because the cost of moving is just too high. Here's where Dr. Henderson's analysis gets really concerning. He argues that Las Vegas is approaching a tipping point. If something doesn't change soon, we could see a fundamental shift in the character of our city. Las Vegas has always been a place where working-class people could afford to live and build a life. But if housing costs continue on this trajectory, that won't be true anymore. We're already seeing the early signs of this shift. Essential workers, the people who work in our hotels, restaurants, hospitals, and schools, are being forced to move further and further away from the city center because that's the only place they can afford to live. This creates longer commutes, more traffic, more pollution, and a lower quality of life for these workers. Dr. Henderson warns that if we don't address this crisis, Las Vegas could become like San Francisco or Los Angeles, cities where income inequality is extreme and the middle class has largely been pushed out. In those cities, you're either wealthy enough to own property or you're struggling to get by. The middle ground is disappearing. He also points out that this has serious economic implications for Las Vegas beyond just housing. Our economy is heavily dependent on tourism and hospitality. If the people who work in those industries can't afford to live here, businesses will struggle to find workers. We're already seeing this to some extent, with many restaurants and hotels reporting difficulty filling positions. If housing becomes even less affordable, this problem will only get worse. So what can be done about all this? Dr. Henderson offers several suggestions, though he admits that none of them are quick or easy fixes. First, we need to dramatically increase housing supply, particularly affordable housing. This means streamlining the permitting process, reconsidering zoning laws to allow for more density, and providing incentives for builders to construct homes that working families can actually afford. Second, we need policies to limit the impact of large investors buying up single-family homes. Some cities have started implementing restrictions on how many homes investment companies can purchase. Las Vegas should consider similar measures. Third, we need to invest in workforce development to train more construction workers. Without enough workers to build homes, supply will never catch up to demand. Fourth, we need creative solutions like community land trusts, where the land is owned collectively and homes are sold at affordable prices, or inclusionary zoning policies that require new developments to include a certain percentage of affordable units. And finally, we need to have honest conversations about growth and sustainability. Las Vegas can't keep growing at its current pace without addressing fundamental issues like water supply and infrastructure capacity. The bottom line is this: the Las Vegas housing crisis is real, it's serious, and it's not going away on its own. It's going to take coordinated action from city leaders, developers, and the community to solve it. But the first step is understanding what we're dealing with. And now you know.